Hey guys, Ben Kelly here. Thanks so much for joining me as I relaunch the podcast in video form, especially any OGs from the original pod. Today we have a great guest for you in world-renowned Brazilian UFO researcher Marco Leal, who is famous for helping to create the blockbuster film Moment of Contact about the Varginha UFO crash. If you are following any of the UFP testimony in front of the Congress about the US government having possession of crashed UFOs, this film is for you. And Marco Leal is one of the primary researchers who has spoken to hundreds of high level witnesses about this alleged UFO crash back in 1996 and the subsequent recovery of alien bodies and craft, which ultimately made their way back to the US for further study. Enjoy. So yeah, the world has gone UFO crazy recently, which I guess is great for yourself and people like us who are fascinated by the subject. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, the work you have done ties in pretty perfectly with everything that's going on. I know Louis Elizondo even said to James that the timing couldn't be better for Moment of Contact. Um, in particular, obviously, you've got David Grush, who was, for those who haven't been watching this space, he's a former Air Force intelligence officer. He's well, quite a senior intelligence officer, decorated combat veteran, NR National Reconnaissance Office representative to the UAP task force, and obviously. For those who haven't been watching, he testified in front of Congress that, you know, it's hard to have missed this, but that that they had recovered UFO craft and that these were, spirited away somewhere in the US, and there were potentially as many as 12 of them. So, as crazy as that may sound to a lot of people who aren't focused on this subject, Moment of Contact is the perfect key to the puzzle because it actually explains in such a compelling way with so much evidence, so much documentation, so much work has gone into it. I applaud yourself and James for the hard work that's gone into that. And that actually answers the question when people are going, well, hang on, where could this have come from? And Moment of Contact spells that out perfectly. Could you maybe? So I encourage anyone who hasn't seen it. Many people are watching this will have seen, and that's why they'll be interested to hear your further feedback about the film and the documentary. And I know you're working on other things, but could you maybe just give us a summary now for people who haven't seen that as to what Moment of Contact, the film, it's on Amazon Prime, what it's about, and a bit more about the Varginha incident, sort of summarized briefly, if possible.
Oh, okay, Ben. Thanks. We had the Varginha case, right? The moment of contact, actually, it is about a sighting. Like the first of all, sighting of three girls who saw like a strange creature, and at the time they thought that it was a devil because they never heard the word ET or alien. And then so the next like the same week of when the girls saw this strange creature, the researcher Ubirajara Rodriguez, he started to researching about this case, and he find out that he had a lot of other a lot of other people who was involved in some part of the Varginha case. So he was building a puzzle, and then he had a help of other researchers, and this is was very big in 1996 in Brazil because uh, we had a lot of witness who was telling that something happened, like in Varginha, really weird, and people from hospital, people from the military fireman station, and other civilian people around this area that we call Jardim Andere area, that these strange creatures appears there, and the fireman station, they did the first capture in during like 10:30 in the morning of January 20th in 1996. So when this is happening in Brazil, everybody was talking about, and I was a little kid, so I got very impressive, like for this story. And then years later, I remember I went to Varginha in 2004 for the first time, and then I was keep going to Varginha every time, like a lot of years, like 2006, 7, 8, and I started to do a research, about to find a new witness from this case. And actually, I was I didn't believe too much in everything of Varginha, so that was my goal, to go there and see if was like true, and see if I could find more witness. And then in 2011, I met James Fox in a conference here in Brazil. So we became a very good friends. And I remember that James, he didn't believe at all in the Varginha case that he heard, but when we had a chance to stay like 1 week together, and we had a chance to speak about the Varginha, and he thought that I was interested, and he decided to come to Brazil in a year later to go to the first time to Varginha. So we started this research together in 2011. So James came to Brazil like I think 3 to 4 times, and I was in the field like this all years, like since 2011 into 2021, when we had a chance to record the moment of contact based on the witness testimony. So it was very hard to convince a lot of these people who was involved in some parts of the case. And I also had a help from other two friends that we call João Marcelo and Giordano Mazzucci, which was a partners. So we did this research also together in local, like in Varginha, and we could find a lot of more people who was involved. And of course, we didn't have all these people in the movie because um, like several witness, they didn't want to come on camera, they just told us like. And then that's was the like when we started to think about it, to shoot a documentary about it, and then James was very fascinated about the witness testimony. And then when he came here the last time, we had this chance to convince like the witness and someone like the military ex. When you see the in the documentary, he was very hard to come on camera, and
Mm.
James was very good to convince him in a private conversation that we had it with him. And this military ex, he did the transportation of this creature, and he was from army, you know so based, just to tell just a little bit how was kind of everything
Mm.
in a few words. Sorry.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to this story. That's the thing that's incredible. There's so many small details, and every one of them makes you think, wow, this is real. Like I was just saying, I saw James speaking somewhere else, and he was saying, I didn't believe this. It was years before I even paid it any attention whatsoever. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people, when they first hear about this, it's essentially it's Brazil's Roswell, but it's happened in 1996. There are a lot. There are. You guys had so many witnesses. Some of them really senior military officers. You had senior medical doctors. You had so many. I mean, what was it? The first thing that, and in a nutshell, as you've kind of summarized there was a crash of a UFO in Brazil. Creatures were found in the town. It sounds absolutely astonishing. It sounds like science fiction, but you guys have presented so many witnesses and so many small details, which all point to this being a genuine, event. And ultimately, without giving too much away, there was a military aircraft from the United States which came and took this. this artifact, this craft, and these bodies back to the U.S. So this ties in with everything that's been going on at a high level, and some of the mainstream news in the U.S. has been covering in terms of David Grush and the testimony in front of Congress. And if anyone's wondering, well, where would they get these? This is one example of how they're getting them. If you believe this case, obviously we would encourage the audience to watch, the film, because, as James also says, the evidence is presented very effectively there. For you, what was the first thing that made you think this is a real case? I believe this, or what first convinced you?
Well, actually, I always believe it in the girls, like in the testimony of the girls. But when I started to go, like, to do the investigation to try to find, because I used to go to Varginha and talk to people, because Varginha, like, is a small city. So, like, when you talk with somebody, like, this person knows another person who probably was, oh, I heard this guy, he was involved, like, in the hospital, and I think you should go to talk to him. And then I remember when I started to go and put in my puzzle together, and when I saw the eye, like, in the, like, I saw the people was telling the truth. Like, the I remember the radiologist that appears in the documentary. I think he was the guy who, at the time in 2012, when I met him for the first time, when he told me the things that the strange activity of the army inside of the hospital, and the procedure that he did. He didn't see any the body, but every like like this procedure that he did was very strange, like with two militaries, with, like, the uniform, army uniform, and another two militaries with police officers uniform, and then they came with this box, and then they asked him to do this, take the x-rays
Hmm.
from this body, but they didn't open
The body bag.
he yeah, the body bag, exactly. And then I when I spoke with him in the regional hospital, I started, I think, to believe more that something happened. So this is give me more, uh like, how do I say, encouraged, like, sorry about my English.
Credibility. Yeah, it gave the story more credibility in your eyes. You started to think this is incontrovertible. And I think,
Yes.
yeah, and I think anyone who looks at this case, the more that you start off incredulous, you start off as a non-believer, but as you can't help but, as you see every piece of evidence and even the small things. I mean, so let's start a little bit from the beginning. So I think the first event in the chronology of this story is that there were some people locally near Varginha, who, I think, farmers, if I'm not mistaken, who saw some lights in the sky, and then
Yeah.
there was a crash. So there was a gentleman who you guys took a long time to find, Carlo de Souza, I believe is his name. Tell us a little bit about this gentleman and what he saw and how you found him, because I think that's really incredible footage in the film where he's looking for the crash site, and he begins to break down in tears when it's a while before he finds it, and because obviously it's been many years, and eventually he gets close, and he actually breaks down in tears. And I think part of that was just, and it was, they were genuine tears, and anyone who watches it, I defy anyone to say that he was acting, because it was genuine, and people can tell that. um, but I think part of that, my impression was that he just has had all this doubt and all this criticism and all this, people making fun of him over the years. And I think that weight was on him, and this was his chance to say, "Look, I did see something here." And when he couldn't find it, he was worried and stressed, and he felt the pressure of the doubt. And then finally, he finds the exact spot, and he breaks down in tears. And that's a very poignant, one of the most poignant moments in a documentary filmmaking, I believe. Incredible work by you guys. Just maybe I'll let you go from there, but
Hmm.
it's really an
Yes.
incredible scene.
Oh, that's, yeah. Okay. So when we find Carlos de Souza, in what this is was, I think, in 2018 again, because Carlos de Souza, he was driving in January 13th of 1996, right in the morning. He went to go to a meeting of ultralight people who does ultralights, fly ultralights. And then I remember that his testimony was basically that he was in Fernão Dias Freeway, which is kind of uh, in the same area as that you can go to Varginha. And he was passed by this freeway, and he saw like a strange cigar-shaped object in the sky with like a white smoke coming outside. And then when he saw that, he thought that was a small airplane with some problem, or and then when he saw this small object was falling. And then he I remember he told us that he did the return it, and he went to another like way, another that uh, could connect him in a field. And this field is it is the Myolini farm. It's not,
Hmm.
it is like a private, but everybody can pass by this area, right?
Hmm.
And then when he arrived at this big field, he saw like a lot of pieces of like metal, like very um
Thin and light, I believe.
yeah, very light and thin, and then he's, oh my god, what is that? So he got it in his hand one. And that's what a lot of people make fun of him, and doesn't believe in him, because he he told like the researcher that it was like a Roswell, looks like a Roswell piece, because when he smashed and he opened his hand, the piece was like, he just, how do I say, like he
Reformed
came.
to its original shape.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
So, and then he saw like two trucks coming the other way, like army trucks, and the militaries who was inside of the truck was jumping in the field, like very, um, like quickly,
Aggressively,
and
yeah.
yeah, and then getting this, start to get in this piece. And then, but he told us he never thought that it was a UFO. He thought that it was an accident. And then this military, he came with a gun, like to him, and say, hey, what are you doing here? And then took the pieces of his hand and say, get out of here. This is means like the Brazilian, um, this is the Brazilian, what do you call it?
National security, probably something
Yes,
like that.
national
Yeah.
security. Sorry, yeah, national security. And he was, no, but we need help the people who is there, because he told us that the biggest piece of the object was further, in this
Mhm.
field, so he couldn't see. And other thing that he told us before the military came, like a little before, he smelled it. I smell like ammonia, and
Mhm.
was burning his eye, like he couldn't, like it was very very strong. And then the militaries came. And then when this military guy was like, get out of here, and he was like, no, we need to help, let's go help the people. And then say no, and then he point the gun, so get out of here. So Carlos left. And then he never spoke anymore about it, the the case. And he did only one interview. Was in January 13 of 1996. So after he went out of this field, he told us that he stopped it in a gas station because he was kind of nervous. And when he went to the bathroom and get some coffee, and then when he came out of the gas station in the parking lot, he saw like one car, like who arrived, a black car, and with two men with a black suit, was a taller man. And then he told the guy, one guy of the two came to him, say, hey, are you Carlos de Souza? You live in the street like, and they knew like some information about where he lived and the name of his daughter, or like, and then his what, how do you
Mm.
guys know that? What's going on? And and then the guy said, oh, you, what you saw, like, you just saw, never tell anyone because this is a national security or something like that. They
Yeah.
told him, to be quiet. And then he told that these guys went back to the car, and they lived. And then I remember he told he was very scared, and he went back to his house, which was like 4 hours, 4 hours and a half from the Myolini farm, this area. And then when he arrived in his house and he told his wife about it, his wife told him like, oh, I think it's better you never tell anything, just be quiet,
Hmm.
And then when was in January 13th. So in January 20th, we had a deciding of the girls, and then where the researchers started all this investigation. And then a lot of media in Brazil was cover,
Hmm.
and then I think Carlos, he saw like all the things that a researcher was discovering, and he was like, and then was in October. Was 10 months after he saw, in October of
Hmm.
1996, he decided to call a researcher that was very famous research, popular here in Brazil, Claudio Covo, which lives in São Paulo. And then he went to Claudio Covo's house and he told all this story. And Claudio Covo was very serious, and he's like, this is interesting because Claudio Covo, he was the researcher also, the Varginha case, because it was like Ubirajara Rodrigues,
Hmm.
Vittorio Pacatini, and then Claudio Covo and Marco Petit. The four of these researchers was doing very good investigation of it. And
Yeah,
of
these are
course,
four
other,
famous researchers in Brazil, and
exactly.
you're amongst them as well now. So there's five, I think. But
Oh,
yeah.
thanks. No, this guy's was, oh my God. And then I remember that Carlos, and then Claudio Covo asked Carlos, oh, Carlos, do you think you can take us to the place that happened in Myolini farm? He said, yes, I think so. I think I can do that. And then I think Caldercovo called, yeah, Ubirajara, told everything like of Carlos' testimony, and then they drove to this field. And then when they arrived, like I remember the four of the researchers actually had more than 20 UFO researchers at the time it was happening. And then they said to Birajara, oh, do you think like we can go to the field and bring all these researchers to we can take a look at the local, the place, and then see if you can find something,
In the
so and
local
then
area where the crash happened. Yeah.
Yes, but was 10 months later,
Mm.
right? Because he was afraid before. And then Carlos, and then I remember like more than 20 researchers went to the field and they started to do try to find pieces, and they had a metal detectors, and they were doing. We have some pictures in the internet
Mm.
of this these
Mm.
days, and then they couldn't find anything, but they thought that was really strange because the earth of the field was kind of smashed, like, and then they found it like a print, like of like in the earth, in the grass, looks like a um big tractor or something was there, like.
Which
And
maybe
that
took the earth, for example,
yeah,
took the topsoil and brought it somewhere, or something like that, perhaps.
yeah, or they were like doing this to see if they couldn't
Mm.
find,
Mm.
probably that we do the hypothesis in
Mm.
19, like in January, maybe the militaries, we don't know. So 10 months later, the researchers found this things strange. But and then Carlos disappeared. Like he
Hmm.
went home and never more spoke about it. We don't have him in any TV show telling the story. So and then when I met
Well,
James, and James,
it's sorry to interrupt, but it's understandable
yeah,
to some extent because he'd been told, he'd been threatened to some extent by these two men.
exactly.
So,
Yes. But you know, all the media was talking about the Varginha case, about the girls, the sighting of the girls, and then they was talking about the military who died, like strange that we can speak about it. And then Carlos, I remember when I met James, and James knew this all story, and James told me, "Oh, Marcos, you need to find Carlos, because
mhm,
he's like a very good, like very important witness." And then I said, okay, I'm gonna try. So I had friends here like John and Jordan and Paulo Pilon, who was another friend, and we started to do a researcher, look into some system, and I remember we could Paulo Pilon found like his address,
mhm,
and he has a small company, Carlos at the time, and then we could find it. And I remember I called him, and for the first time, and say, "Hey, are you Carlos de Souza? You were involved. You were involved in the Varginha, remember, case? You gave a testimony to Claudio Cove and Birajara." And he was like, "Yes. So how do you how did you guys find me? And I said, "No, we did a research in here, and we would love to talk to you. Can we have a meeting?" And he was thinking a little bit, and I said, "Okay, I can go have a meeting with you guys." And then I remember I went for the first time, me and Paulo, and then we had this meeting with him, and he told us the same story as he did like in like 4 years
mhm.
before,
Hadn't changed
since
the story. Yeah.
yeah, but he kind of actually, that's what a lot of other people doesn't believe in him, because maybe he changes a little bit of some things, but he was very, like, I believe it in his
Mhm,
story when I was looking in his eye,
mhm,
and then I told James, we found in him, and he was like, he did. I don't know if the first of all he didn't want too much to go on camera, but and then we spoke a lot with him, and he did an interview only with me and other friends here, before James. So I remember I sent this interview to James, and James, oh my god, that's really good. And James, and then when he came, Carlos agreed to be part of the movie. But like I didn't know that he never went back to Maiolini Farm since October of 1996. So he never went there. And then when you guys see when we arrived at the farm, and he was trying to look at the place, and he couldn't find, because it was very different. It was 27 years later. And then he was like, "Oh, are you sure it was here, Marco?" I said, "Yes, I'm so sure." But I knew the place that he appointed, in 1996. But I didn't want to tell him for
mhm.
sure, to don't, how do I
You didn't want it
say
to influence him, and it totally
it?
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So we took like hours to him like realize the place. And when you guys saw, like, we were like walking all the field, like, it's very big field, and James walked like, and we went. So I saw this little house, because always was telling, "Oh, I remember that I has a white house, a little white house
Mm.
near of this place." But I don't know if they took the house from here. But we had a house, a white house, behind some trees. We couldn't see very well, and but I already saw the house, and I didn't say anything. So and then I was trying to see if Carlos would remember, like, and then I remember James was like, we were tired because we had many hours in the field, like, was very hot, you know. And then I remember James came, oh, there's a house down there. I said, yes, there's a house, like, you know, behind the trees. And then when we came down, and then Carlos saw, and then he did this. We couldn't. I didn't expect it that his action, you know. He
Hmm.
said it was here, 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 and then he started to run, and then we followed him, and then everything makes the sense, you know. And then he found, and he got emotion because the thing, I think he was emotional. He cried a little bit is one thing, because when I met him for the first time in 2018, he told me 15 days before the meeting, he was in a family meeting, and then they bring the story in the family, and had some cousin, I don't know, who was like make fun of him. Oh, you're a liar. You saw like alien, blah, blah, like was make fun of him, and he got very like pissed off. He was very sad also. And then I think he said to the people there, one day I'm gonna prove that this is true, you know. And then he got upset, and he left the family meeting. So he was very upset. So 15 days later we met, like. And then I think when in 2021, when he went to the field for again, you know, for the second third time that he went there, and he, I think everything came in his head, and he said, oh my god, now maybe I can have a chance, like, to show people that I'm not telling, you know, like, I'm not liar. And then also he was living the moment there, you know. That's what we felt at. And the camera man, David West, he's very professional. He does
Hmm.
Hollywood movies, you know. And he told us, I never saw like if he's acting, he's a very good, he deserves a Oscar, because I never saw like he told us, I remember, David told us, I recorded with like Mel Gibson, like all the famous actors, and they didn't act perfectly like Carlos at the time, you know. So for Dave, um, Carlos' testimony is more impressive because he lived there, and felt he felt this, you know. And then was really interesting because we had a chance to go back with Carlos, and Carlos found the place, and was that. And I remember Carlos was very happy to see other witnesses coming, especially the military ones, who's come and talk about it, because he, I don't know if you guys seen the end of the movie. There's one part of it, the Carlos, oh James, like oof, like the half of his shoulders went, you know, because he was with us in some interviews after, that he couldn't listen and heard the testimony of some military officers about
Hmm.
it, you know. And then we
So he was
said, "Oh, sorry,
sorry,
go
yeah,
ahead."
he was feeling the pressure coming off his shoulders, absolutely, and you can really feel that in the testimony. And yes, I see, I know what you mean. He was there with yourselves when you were interviewing the gentleman at the one of the hospitals, I believe, when a metal box, was being taken out. Um, and I think Carlos was there as well at that point. So
Yes,
all that was a kind
perfectly.
of redemption for him, I suppose.
Yes, because that guy who was the military from ESA, the military base, was telling us some details of the first time, you know. And I was
Um,
like, oh man.
and Marco, just how much time sorry, I didn't check this with you. How much time do you have today? You
One,
okay for time?
yeah, we're 1 hour more.
Okay,
It's
great.
okay if
Okay,
you.
fantastic. So obviously that was a very compelling introduction to the film, and it was amazingly done. The cameraman did an amazing job of capturing everything that you just spoke about, the emotion. I think there was also I read somewhere or heard that there was a NORAD tracking, or somehow somebody was tracking this, because obviously the farmers saw the craft, and then Can you maybe talk a bit more about that? Because I think there was quite a bit of witness testimony regarding this object coming in.
Nice, yes. So Carlos de Souza, when he had this sighting, was January 13 of 1996. But the last night, like probably in the January 13th of 1:30 in the morning, there's two farmers that are called Eurico and Oralina. They were in the ranch, and then they heard like the cows, cows, was running away, like do a strange not, noise. And
Mm-hmm.
then Oralina opening the window to see what's, why the cow was running. And then she told us that she saw a really strange object, like a cigar shape, or they told us after like a submarine
Mm-hmm.
like shape with some smoking coming out, and then when Oralina saw, she called Eurico, and Eurico came to the window, and they could see these objects very low, like flying very low for about 40 minutes. That was really incredible because 40 minutes is long time. And I remember they were telling us that I was very low, and they said, "What is that? What is this?" That's weird. So they said like a submarine shape or cigar shape looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and then probably actually they didn't remember the day of this sighting,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what the researchers was trying to connect both testimony of Carlos and the farmers, because in some book of Birajara they were telling that it was in January 19th, like at night, the
Mm-hmm.
sighting of the farmers, but
Mm-hmm.
we believe that was maybe 1 week before, as
Mm-hmm.
when Carlos uh, connect this testimony with them, because they saw the same strange object. And also there's another truck driver who uh, didn't come to the movie, and he
Mm-hmm.
saw the same thing, and he sent us like a message. Oh, I remember that. I don't remember the date, but I remember that it was January, and I saw this strange object. I was in the same freeway as Carlos, so we have this another eyewitness too who saw the same object that the farmers and Carlos saw. So when the researchers start to put in the puzzle together, um, and some information came to media, a controller, a tower controller. How do you guys say? Of
Air traffic
air
control.
traffic.
Yeah.
Exactly, air traffic controller from Air Force Brazilian. He gave the information to Pacatini and Marco Petit in a conversation that the we didn't have at the time air of defense, but was an institution, looks like a air of defense of Brazil. And then um, and then he told Marco Piccini Pacatini that NORAD was um, was like
Monitoring.
checking,
Yeah.
yeah, monitoring all the area. And then they called our governors and some institution. They say, oh, there's a strange activity in the area of UFOs, because was atypical, like was very like a lot of sightings of UFOs at the time. And then also they was monitoring. And then our Air Force at the time, we called the UFO like officially, like Tráfico Hotel, like the brigadier. He did like a form to the pilots who, when they see a UFO or something strange, when they land, they had to write on this form what they saw, everything. So they called tráfego hotel traffic, hotel
Okay.
traffic, you know.
The air
And
traffic
then
controller did that, did you say?
yeah, no, this is what the brigadier, he creates this form in back to the 80s.
I see. Yeah.
So when this traffic controller told Marco Pettini and Vittorio Pacatini, he had the information that the NORAD called
Mm,
our institution and was telling, oh guys, like we had a lot of UFOs on the area, so pay attention there, you know.
hmm
But that is really strange still, really strange, because he reported, this same air controller reported a sighting of a captain of Air Force around Varginha. We had this city we call Formigas, and had this huge river that it is in Furnas. And I
hmm
remember the guy, the audio, he was telling that a captain called him in January. No, was in December of 1995, asking him, "Oh, can you see on the radar right there? I am seeing like a strange ball, like object. He come into the water and and he gets out of the water very fast, no noise. Can you guys check on the radar?" And then he was in the tower, and he was trying to look into the radar, he couldn't see, you know. No, I am not seeing anything here.
hmm
But the captain, he was in the place, he was looking eye contact, you know. He
hmm
didn't, he saw. And then that's what I was the source of this information of the NORAD, because this guy was from Air Force, and he knew some information that the Americans was telling us about it, like this strange activity in the skies. And then this was in December of 1995. And then
hmm
January, we had
hmm
this crash,
Wow.
you know. And then everything started like that. That's why they say about the NORAD. The
hmm
information came from this traffic controller, who, like, of course, he hid it. We hid his name, and you know,
hmm Sure.
the researchers at the time, you know.
But
And then so
yeah.
sorry.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, I was telling just that we can connect Carlos
Mhm.
with the trucker driver and the farmers, you know.
Yeah, because obviously we get to these creatures that end up wandering around the town, and there's very credible and convincing testimony and evidence for that happening. There's video apparently out there. There's photos apparently out there. We haven't got those yet, but I know you guys are working on that. But we'll get to that. But it's important to establish that there was something that crashed, and these weren't just wild animals that somehow looked like an alien. These came from somewhere. I believe the next sort of major event was that the girls saw this creature in Virginia. Is that right? Because where this crash happened was a few kilometers away. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is like a 30 minutes away from the place where
Mm,
the creatures appeared, you know.
mm,
So what happened in January? So this is January 13th. So we had a 1 week, you know, later, in January 20th, in the morning, in January 20th in the
mhm,
morning, like 10 o'clock, some local people in the area of the Jardim Andere, we had like a big, like a forest inside of the city, you know,
mhm,
especially in 1996, because it was more country place,
mhm,
you know, more ranches and more fields. And then they had this big, still there, big forest. So some kids and other people who live it in the houses around saw this strange creature, animal, like very kind of far away in the forest. And some kids uh, got the stone, like a stone, a rock,
mhm.
and tried to, you know, how do
Jeez.
I
Yeah.
say? yeah,
throw rocks at it at the
throw the
creature. Yeah.
rockets on these creatures. They thought that's like a animal, strange animal. So they called to the fireman station
Hmm.
and told, hey, there's a really strange animal here. You guys need to come in here to capture to see. And the boys is throwing the rocks, and then they went. Actually, at the time, the guy who was in the farm station, he got a radio hawk talk, and he's like called another guy, another fireman, and this fireman was cutting some trees very near of this forest, and I say, that's okay. We are going there to see if you can find anything. So they went there, and for like the surprised, they found this creature very like weak and like was very weak, and they had a net, a net and some other things to when the firemen use to capture animals, and then they said they throw the net into
Hmm.
the creature, and the creature was very weak
Hmm.
and didn't do the creature didn't do anything, and then was very easy. So they put in the net and then took this creature, put in a box, and they closed the box, and then they called the captain of the fireman station, and the captain came, Captain Maciel captain. He came with another guy, military, and then the other guys reported, oh, we saw this, we just captured a really strange animal, I don't know, like very weird. So I
Did
think
they have the ammonia smell? Sorry to interrupt. Did they also have the ammonia smell? Because I know that was,
actually,
yeah.
to be honest with you, in this testimony, we don't have
Hmm.
any testimony of they smell it at the time, only because they took and they put in the box. So we had this testimony. It is from a fireman who
Hmm.
recorded an audio telling this story to Vittorio Pacatini in February 16th of 1996. All right,
Hmm.
in the city of Three Horts, who is very. This fireman used to live in Three Horts, but he worked in Varginha,
Hmm.
So this guy, this military was with Maciel Captain, and they drove to the place. So he told on the audio that when he arrived at the place, he didn't see the creature anything. He just saw like the box, and
Hmm.
he could heard like a strange noise coming from the box, like a bee, like bzz,
Hmm.
bzz, bzz,
Wow.
bzz, like a bee. That's what he was telling. And then the other, he told us, I think one of these firemen who captured, I think was four of them who did the capture and put in the box, was very shocked, like
Mm.
this by. So the army truck came. I think, I don't know if they called or they already knew about it, something, because the army truck was seen by the local people in the area, like doing,
Hmm.
and the truck stopped it, and then the fireman gave this box to the truck, to the army militaries, and then they put it in the truck, and then they went in the morning of January 20th. They went back to the military base as in Three Horts. So was the first creature that was captured by the firemen, and then they took to the military base. And the same day, uh, in 3:30 in the afternoon, the three girls, they went to help a lady, like to because the lady, she was doing
Hmm.
a move, and they went to work, and then when they came back to this work was 3:30, they went walk. She was walking in this field, and then they saw this strange creature, like was like this, like, and was his head was uh, in the all way, like it was like this, and then Liliane was a little further, was very like near and said, "Oh, girls, look at that!" And then when she said, "Look at that," the creature turned the head, you
Wow.
know, and then and then the girls couldn't see. Oh my God! And then
Uh,
the two girls, the sisters, Liliane and Valkyrie, started running, and Katya, and they told us that the girls had a plastic bags in the hands, like and then Katya was looking to the eye of the creature, and then Valkyria and Liliane saw that she was there, like stopped it, and then they came again, grabbed her like hand and push like
mhm.
her like to say let's
Pulled her
go,
away. Yeah.
and then they start running. So Katya told us when
Mm,
she looked at the creature's eyes, it looks like the creature was like, "I'm suffering, help me," or something like
mm.
that, you know.
So
But
she had that feeling. She had that empathy with the. She was that thought of as just the look on its face, or was that sort of more a sort of some sort of communication?
I think was more. She told us was more when she had a was any communications more because the expression of the
Hmm.
face was very like very like scared and
Hmm.
weak and help me,
Yeah.
and but we don't know. Some people believes was a communication,
Hmm.
but she doesn't know. She said nothing came to my head. I just
Mm.
felt because I look into the face,
Mm.
and then they running. And Katya told us when she was running down,
Hmm.
she thought in her head that the creature was running, uh,
Behind
following
her.
them
Yeah.
behind her, exactly. But no, and then was 3:30 in the morning, in the afternoon,
Hmm.
and then when they arrived in the street of the sister's house, the mother Luisa was there already because she told us like a mother. I had a sensitive, I don't know, like I felt something wrong was happening, and I was in the street asking to the neighbors if they saw the girls.
Mm.
So the girls turned the street, and Valkyrie was crying so bad, and Liliane like also, and then, "Oh, we saw the devil, mom, we saw the devil, my God." I say, "What?" And then they were like Valkyria, 14 years old, Liliane 16 years old, and Katia Xavier was like 21 years old at the time, and she was the responsible for the sisters.
Mm.
And Luisa said, what is this, like devil?" And then said, "No, if they appears to you, this devil is gonna appear to me. Katya, let's go
Mm.
back to the field right now. I wanna see that." And Katya, "No, no, I'm not going. No, you need to go because you were responsible. I wanna see it." So okay, so they went, they got a ride and they went back. So when Luisa came out to the car, went to the field. She couldn't see any creature, anything, but she could felt the strange smell of ammonia or something looks like ammonia. And then she said, "Oh my God, this smell is so bad." And she saw like a footprint. She could see a footprint in the earth and the grass, between grass and earth, very near, like of the wall. But she couldn't say too much because they smell. So
Hmm.
she went back to the car. This is probably was 4 o'clock of January, 4 o'clock afternoon of January 20th.
Hmm.
So the same day, around 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., there's these two police officers. Actually, we knew that we had more police officers and other militaries was doing a search there, like with cars. So when Marco Lixerezi, the soldier, Marco Lixerizi, and with Cabo Eric Lopes, they were, was a corporal military. They turned a street and they saw this strange creature crossing the car, and then I don't know how Marco Cherizi got out and he captured like this strange creature because it was very weak too, very easily. and put it in the back of the car, and then they took to the hospital. And then was the operation that they were involved. And then they got this strange creature, drove to the hospital. Actually, they first of all they took this creature to a small, how do I say, a small office of doctor, small.
Like a medical center, maybe something like that.
Perfect,
Yeah.
exactly. Because Eric Lopez, he was a friend of the doctor who was working at this small medical center, and then he went inside and called this doctor, said, "Hey, can you come in here? I want to show you something." And then when the doctor came out, they showed the creature. Said, "Oh my God, no! What the hell is that? Please take from here. Go to the hospital, or And then I think in that time, a little bit after, they had a call or something to take this creature to the hospital, the regional hospital. And then they drove this creature there, um and the creature stayed there, so he lived it. And I remember Marta, who was the sister of Marco Cherisi, told us that night Marco Cherisi went home, and he was very wet because probably when he captured the creature was running so bad in the Varginha, in Varginha,
Mm.
very strong rain, rain,
Rainfall.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah. And then okay, so he was very nervous, like Marta said, like he changed very fast his clothes because it was very wet, and he got out again to the house, and she doesn't know what he went to do. So 27 days later of this capture, actually 3 weeks after, he started to feel sick, and then he went to
Mm.
the hospital, and the doctor uh, did like the right procedure, gave him antibiotics in vein, which was faster, so he got worse, and he died like 27 days later. So we can see all the details, kind of the details that the doctor Cesario told for James on the documentary,
Mm.
because he felt that was very weird situation, and he never saw the situation because Marco Elixerezi, he looks like when he went for the first time in the hospital, like feeling sick, they thought that it was like a, I don't know how do you say in English, like pneumonia,
Oh,
like when you,
pneumonia. Pneumonia.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, like
Okay.
in his head. So they gave the antibiotics for that, and
Mm.
he told us like in 99% of these cases, when we give these antibiotics, uh, they get better, but they did only him got worse,
Mm.
and then he died. So we were
Wow.
like
Mm.
very, so this is was that happened, but Marta and the family of the Marco Cherisi, they didn't know yet that he was involved at the case, but they already heard that the militaries did a capture of a strange devil or something at the street. And I think uh, like maybe 3 days before Marco gets sick, Marta told us that because Marco, he had two works. He was a police officer, and the other time he was a taxi driver. And then she told us that she went to talk to him, like for
Mm.
other things. And she asked, "Oh, Marco, do you know anything about some strange creature that was captured?" And he was like, was very serious, and he said, "I just can tell you that this is gonna be a lot of more things to say, or something like that. Like it is an expression here." And then
Mm.
she was, "Oh, okay." So 3 days after this conversation, he started to get sick, and then he died. So they didn't know already that he was involved. So 1 year later, uh, Pacatini and Ubirajara, They knew that he was involved because they got these informations, and they went to the house of Marta's house and Marco Lixerez's mother, and they told with very hard to tell, the story. But oh, do you believe if we say that your brother was there? And then after Marta started like to connect a lot of things, because like in 1 year of his death, she was trying to get his death certificated, you know, and they were like always, oh, come back later. We don't have here right now. Oh, now we need a 652 reais to give you. So she didn't have that money. Say, come on,
Hmm.
it's my right,
Yeah.
and then they never gave her. And what she thought that was weird, that in the same day as Marco Cherise died, the other doctors, and they said, oh, I think we don't need, like, I think, like, we don't, you guys don't do the funeral, just go and buried him, right? Like, and then they fight it a little bit with the doctors, the sister. No, come on, we need to have a funeral. Come on. And then they had this funeral very quickly. And then, so she was kind of think something weird was going on, But after 1 year, when Ubirajara and Pacatini had this information, and then told the family, I think she connected other
Hmm.
things that she knew, and she went to talk with other militaries who was a friend of Marco Cherise, long time, and then some of it came to her and said, oh, okay, this is was true, unfortunately, but the authority, the captain, like the high position, they can't coming out
The senior
to the
officer.
public and say, oh, yeah, that was a creature, strange creature, and so they were cover up. And she understood kind of. So after 1 year, they had the meeting of 1 year of the case, like the researchers, and they called Marta to tell the public, like, because had a lot of media, to tell the story. Oh, the certificate of death of my brother never came to my hands. I want to see. And she was like telling, these things, and she already believed that Mark was involved in the capture. So that was weird, because one day after, like 2 days after this this kind of interview with her, saying that she didn't get the that certificate. 2 days later, they called her. Oh, come on, pick up you can get it here. And then she went. She got it, the certificate, and she said they gave her without the second page or something like
Hmm.
that, And then they were saying that there was he had a normal death. He was a normal cause of death. And then,
Hmm.
but after, she always was very upset about it, and she went to try to talk with his partner, Marco Cabo Eric Lopes Corporal,
This was
and
a
they
gentleman who was in the car on the evening when he captured the creature in the road in the rain. He was driving the
perfect.
car. Yeah.
Yes, but he never talk about it, and she was like, because you was there. They were trying to fight a little bit, and she said that Pacatini Ubirajara was there too, and he started to smoke one cigarette, like nervous, was sweating a little bit. No, I don't know anything, I don't know anything. And she left the place, uh, and then and then was really weird, because he never came out like and say anything to, even to the family, so the family would love to have his information. And then remember when James Fox met Martha for the first time, she was claiming of that, to James, and James, oh my God, we need to find this Eric Lopes, we need to see. because the family is trying, he never gets the information, you know. So the first of all, this was in 2013 when James met Martha for the first time, and then in 2000 when he came for the last time to shoot the documentary, we had a we had a look, like, because we went to interview the mayor of Varginha, and then after the interview, James was like asking, "Oh, can you guys help us to find Eric Lopes? Do you know anybody?" And the mayor told us, "Oh, I think I'm gonna uh, connect you guys with Romulo." Romulo was the lawyer, and actually he was a politician in the city too. And it's crazy because I already knew him. Like, I spoke with him like probably 4 years ago, that at that time. And then, oh, I said, I think I know Romulo. I said, yeah, his father was a sergeant at the time. Now he's a sergeant, but at the time he was a corporal police officer. I said, okay, so can you connect us? And then I remember we spoke with Romulo, and Romulo agreed to, and his father, like, they said he knew Eric Lopes, and they knew where Eric Lopes lived, where was his house. And James was like, oh, can you guys take me there, us there? But already I remember I told James, I said, James, I don't think we should go there, because I heard when when like people ask him about this case, he's get very nervous, he's changed. He said, oh, but I need to go, you know, look at this family, they need the answers, but I want to go there. I said, oh, okay. But I said to him, but I'm going there with you, but I'm not gonna get out of the car, you know,
So
because
you
probably
knew
he
that he
know
could.
me.
You knew he could be dangerous.
Yeah, and then I remember James told me, what's the worst thing you think he can do with us? I said, I don't know, maybe shoot or something, you know. And James, I think he didn't believe too much at the time, but he was very courage. He James is incredible. And then he's like, and then he went there, and then we see on the movie everything
Mm.
was so real there, you know. And then he threatened everybody that for 3 times, that if the, the
Threatened. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, the crew didn't get out of the his property, he he would shoot everybody, you know, for 3 times. And James told us that he could see in his eyes and his face, even if he didn't understand any word, but he could see the expression of his face changed so bad. And the weird thing was, when we arrived to his house, Romulo went first and called, like, Eric. And then when he came out to the window, he said, oh, there's some Americans here, would like to talk to you. We never said alien anything. And then Eric said, if they want to talk about alien ET, it's better you guys get out of here, because
Mm.
you guys gonna get in trouble. You know,
Could
that was
could
the
you see the
first.
Could you see the gun? Did he have it out the window or
No, no,
no?
but his hand was kind of
Yeah.
right here. We speculated maybe he had
Mm.
something right
Yeah.
there. So, and then actually also was very weird, because Romulo was with
Mm.
his little son. You can see their little kid, you know, was
Oh,
with the
jeez.
crew there, and the
Mm.
guys were stranded like everybody, and was
Mm.
very weird. So James didn't wasn't understand everything, because the translator, she didn't, I think she was nervous at the time too, was very hard, you know, because in the beginning, Eric told the crew right there that he wasn't Eric, and then after
Oh,
he said that he was
he
Eric.
admitted.
Yeah, you know. And
Okay.
then
Mm.
but I knew it because years ago of that, I went to speak with Eric Uslop's wife,
Hmm.
and she got very nervous with me and say, oh, you guys are lying, like, you are putting my husband in this situation, this has never happened. And then she told us that he was very nervous when talking about it. So, and I knew from other people too, you know. And then so
Mm.
that's what I told James. But James, he did his job. He went there like a
Mm,
journalist, like
mhm.
and then after that, I remember James asking, "Are you sure? Like he threatened to shoot us?" I said, "Yes, we can hear like the sound guy was kind of far away, but we could hear
But
her
you
his
were smart. You waited in the car.
yeah, because before we used to talk about this incident in the
Mm.
media, and probably he knew me. Probably I don't know if he say, "Oh my God, look this guy." He's probably I don't know. I thought in my head, if he see me, probably he's gonna be more like more like
You might be the
mad.
one he tries to shoot first. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
probably that's what I felt. I don't
the
know.
the other point that was interesting about that in the film was that when the Marco Sceresi was in the hospital, the doctor said he was telling them everything because he didn't care about national security at that point. He was
Yeah,
dying, so he told them. The implication was that he told them exactly what happened, and that they had captured this creature. They were driving it wherever, I guess, to Essa with Eric
yeah.
Lopes, and he made everything clear because he wanted to save his life. He wanted them to be able to help him.
Exactly, but this was another thing new,
Mm,
because every time when the people asked the doctor said that Marco never told him about
mm,
anything. So at the point, in the moment of the interview, I couldn't believe he was telling. Oh, he was
yeah,
like he was worrying. I think
mm,
his head. Oh my God! I think and he tried
mm,
to fix. Like
mm.
there were no, his sister told me, but it was
Right.
Marco who told him about it, for sure, because I'm dying
Mm,
here. Of course, I'm gonna tell the doctor,
mm,
whatever, if it's national security,
mm.
you know.
And I mean obviously, it gets more interesting, but one of the points that really, there's so many little facts in the film and so many pieces of evidence and so many little things that you think, that's strange. That everything points to it being genuine, even though you kind of obviously a story like this stretches credulity. The other
Mhm.
point that really convinced me, I think, was when you yourself and James went to see the family, and they had ordered some pizza, and these guys were totally genuine, and they were, I think he was a
Yeah,
doctor, I can't remember, and they didn't want to talk, and you had everything on film, and they basically, you got them to disguise their identity. But talk a bit about that bit, because that part was really convincing. You can't imagine a family who've just been approached at their house in this small neighborhood would connive together to lie about something like this.
yes,
It was just very
exactly,
convincing.
Ben.
Yeah.
Was very convincing because I never had the opportunity to be with the family at the time,
Mm,
and the family, when we saw, because you guys see behind the back, right, the interview, but we
mm,
could see his their expression and eyes.
mm,
For me, was one of the best interview, more
mm,
convincing, one of because the family, the first of all, the family didn't want to appear on the documentary when we arrived at the place, when I spoke with him, because like uh, Varginha is a small city, so I rented the house to stay from other doctors, had a nice house to rent for the crew.
mm,
So when I was talking with the doctor, who is the owner of this house, he he knows a lot of things about it, but he cannot say. And he's a doctor in the regional hospital, in Humanitas Hospital.
mm.
So he has more information. We know
This
that
was
he
the
has
same
it.
guy. This was the same guy who was talking with his family. Did you say it's the same
No,
guy?
no, no.
Okay.
This guy, just to explain how we find out the family,
Mm,
and so this owner, this doctor who owns the house, he told me, "Oh, I think you should talk with the husband of
mm,
my sister, because they had a really incredible sighting in January of 1996." And then he gave me his phone number. So I called him, and then he told me I was like, oh, that's incredible, like, testimony. And then I asked, oh, can we are here with American crew, we are shooting a documentary, can we go there to you participated of it? And then I think he didn't understand too much. He said, oh yes, you guys can come here tomorrow, okay. So I remember we went to the house, and Dave was filming everything, and then when we arrived, I think the sir, he thought that we went there to speak
mm,
only. To He
mm,
told us, like, but and then when I said, oh, can you record you saying the testimony?
mm.
Say, no, no, I don't want to do that. Please, no, no. And then somehow, James, and we convincing the family to come, and then I'll say, oh, we can film back of your heads, and then I'll say, like, they were very nice. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys.
Mm.
And then when he came, and then he was telling that he ordered a pizza. Here in Brazil, it's very normal when you order pizza very late at the time. Sometimes it's 10 o'clock, 11
I like that.
p.m. We can call pizza and they can come, And the motor boy, the guy from the
Mm,
motorcycle, came and then called, like, knocked the door. And when he went to get his pizza, like, or his order, he he looks at the motorcycle guy, and he was looking like very weird, like very strange expression, looking the sky. And then when he looked it up, he saw this huge, like, incredible object, was kind of low, because he said if he could get a rock, like, very,
mm.
like, he couldn't maybe, you know uh,
Hit it.
throw a
Yeah.
rock, yeah, hit it on the object. So he, oh my god. And then when he got the order, the motorcycle, like, runs like, he went,
Mm.
was very scared. And then
Oh, so
when
that was
he,
the motor. Sorry, that was the boy who was on the motorbike that
yeah,
said that.
exactly.
Oh, because you didn't
That's,
have him in the film, though.
no, we don't have him the film, because this
Mm.
was in January of
I
1996.
see. Yeah.
And the sir, the family, of course, they didn't know who was the boy who was there,
Mm. But that's
and
amazing though, because they then corroborate that testimony.
exactly. And then
Mm.
when they came to the garage of the house where we interviewed them, and then the wife and the daughter who appears in the documentary at the time was a little kid, kind
Yeah.
of, I think 12 years old. And
Mm.
then they came out, and then they started to see the same object,
Mm.
and he couldn't believe. He's like, he said,
Mm.
they said they stayed 15 minutes, and
Mm.
this object flying was doing like this with no
Mm.
noise,
Mm.
something in the medium of the UFO. It was a classic disc. And
Mm.
then he said that
Sphere in the
was,
middle.
yeah, and no noise, and looks like was like searching
Mm.
for something there. That's what
And
they felt.
yeah, and I think it's important to make the point that all these events happened within, like, I think 200 meters or something. So it's all in one very
Exactly.
small neighborhood. So where the Marco Shiresi and Eric Lopes collected the creature in the road in the rain, that's just there. Where the girls saw the creature that's right there, and where the family saw the thing doing the search pattern, obviously
Great.
seemingly looking for their lost friend. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
it
incredible, isn't it?
was, the house is only two streets, 2 blocks up, where,
Mm,
which is very near
mm,
of the girl sightings,
yeah.
and where the what, as you did,
Mm, mm,
like, as you say, like,
yeah.
the military's capture was very near. And then I think for me the most impressive was because we told them sometimes to stop, like, the interview,
Mm,
because they were so exciting telling the stories,
mm,
and the three of them was talking together, so we
mm,
couldn't hear, say, oh,
mm,
please come down, can you, and then, you could see.
mm,
And the thing that was really weird, that we thought after deciding, and
mm,
people knew, like, the neighborhoods, like, I think
mm,
after 3 weeks or 1 month, Americans came to his house
mm,
to ask about what they saw, and they had a conversation in his living room. And then when they went, when they leave, like he said to the
mm,
sir, "Oh, you please never tell anyone that
mm,
we were here." But they don't know who was these Americans. They thought that
mm,
it was a reporter or something. But they say never tell anything about that we came here. You know,
mm,
that's what he says in the end of the testimony. So that was really compelling because uh, a lot, like other neighborhoods, other peoples also described like a sighting of UFO and around all these neighborhoods, you know. And then we connect with the family too, so it's incredible because for us, we thought for sure they were trying to looking
mm.
for his friends,
Yeah.
you know.
And I know we're running a little bit low on time. So, I mean, the story goes on that obviously they get the two creatures. So they got the one that Marcus Shirazi found and one that the fireman found. They drive them to the military base. There was allegedly a film made, and various witnesses say that, and you have a witness in the film as well. You call him Military X. Obviously, he wants to be anonymous,
Yes.
and he was leading the team who went to Virginia and in the morning, I guess, and collected the animal or the creature, and then drove it to the hospital. And he goes through all those details in the film, which is amazing.
Yeah, actually, he military X, he participated to get the creature from the Humanitas Hospital because he didn't know like the mission. He was in a mission, but the his captain didn't say to them what
Mm,
was. They just say, "Let's go to Varginha," and then they were like doing a circles, driving circles, and then they said stop in a market, and they stopped at a market, get something to eat, and then they were in three trucks, army trucks, and then this military X, he was in the one truck, and the S2 that we call um, is a military from intelligence of army. You know,
mhm,
is a intelligence of army. They don't use uniform and they use
mhm.
no vehicle like army vehicle. You know, and then they called to military X. So follow me right now. And then he was following this car, and then he said that he passed by the regional hospital, and then he went to the Humanitas hospital. So, and then when he arrived at the gate, the guy said, "Oh, now you get go inside with the truck." So he said he back up with the
Mm,
truck, and then when he parked at the inside of the hospital, in the back of the hospital, he saw like a fireman's car there, and the cops, the police officers' cars was there, and a lot of militaries and doctors. And he said that when he get out of the truck, he was waiting there outside. He didn't know what was going on, you know.
mm,
And then he saw a captain of the firemen came
mm,
out of a door with the hand in the mouth,
mm.
like this, and he was like, "What the hell is going on in here?" And then
So
he
again,
had
the
a
ammonia. It's probably a shock by what he's been witnessing, and also the ammonia potentially.
Yes.
Mm,
And then he felt curious and he said, what the hell is that? So he had the uniform, and then he walked into this room, and then where he saw, he told us that he saw his captain, Ramirez captain, Tiberio, who had a camera here. He wasn't
mm,
filmed, but it was here one camera, and the other the Olympio Vanderlei. So the three leaders,
mm,
the base
mm,
the army base leaders, and then he saw like they were all looking to a box, and the doctors with like masks and everything, gloves, and they were like writing down something, you know, looking. And when he looked at like kind of not too far away, but a kind of far away to the box, and he could see by the knee into the foot that
mm,
was a brown skin with like some oil, like va- something oil in the
mm.
veins, was like a standard veins, you
Bulging out.
know.
Yeah.
yeah, pointing out, like, and I was like, what the hell is that? And in his mind at the time, and he saw the foot like
Mhm,
a V, you know.
mhm,
And then in his head, he thought that it was a animal burned, or a man who was
mhm,
burned, and he didn't know.
mhm,
So when the captain saw him in the room, he said, "What the hell are you doing here? I told you guys, wait outside." And then he went outside, waited, and then probably they closed the box and put the box in his truck. And then he had to follow these other intelligence officers to the military base. And then he said when he arrived in Three Horts, they closed one street because to him go like faster, to get
mhm,
inside of the army base. And then this is what will happen. And then when he arrived there, the other captain was waiting for him, like in the garage where they park these trucks. And then they say to him, "Oh, you can, like, you park, please park right here the truck, and then you can touch the wall, like with the back, you can touch the
mhm,
wall." He was like, weird, okay. And then when he get out, he told Olympio Vanderlei, the colonel, he's calling you in his office. And then he went there. And then when he arrived at the office, he had the Olympio Vanderlei, the colonel, and other high officers. And the Olympio looked at it to Military X, which was corporal at the time. And
mhm,
they said, "Hey, what did you see?" And they say, "Oh, I don't know, Colonel. For me, I saw like a strange animal burned, or an animal, or a man." And they said, "No, this is not an animal. This is not a guy. This is a paranormal, like he could say like a kind of alien,
paranormal,
or
supernatural or
paranormal,
paranormal, yeah.
supernatural thing. So if this is coming out, like if you guys say something out of this
If
alls,
out of
like
this
if you,
room, yeah,
yeah,
outside
if
of
you
this room.
guys outside things, yeah, if you guys say something outside of this room, you guys gonna get in trouble. And he believed it because he didn't have too much, he wasn't friendly with the colonel, military,
Mm,
like. And then but he didn't believe it. He told us he didn't believe at all that was an alien or something supernatural. I think
mm,
he told us that he thought that they were doing something, telling him a liar, like they were lying. But after like 3 months, he saw it on the news, uh, like all the girl sighting, everything was coming out on the media. But he told us too that was really weird, because when he came back to this mission, the next days they said, they changed the schedule of these militaries who was together in the mission, and they couldn't see each other. Oh, and the
mhm,
other thing that I forgot to say you, so he
mhm,
went out to the room when the
mhm,
colonel told him. And then
mhm,
the other captain told him, "Oh, now tomorrow you need to be here 4 in the morning, because you guys gonna drive to
mhm,
Campinas." And
mhm,
then I say, "Okay." And then he went, and then they drove this box to the other army base in Campinas. When he arrived the place, he said that there was a activity, a strange, unusual
mhm,
activity of militaries in the parking lot. And then he parked, and then the captain already was there and said, "Okay, now you guys can go to the army base, like you guys can sleep or do whatever you guys want." And then they asked him, "But and about the trucks?" I said, "Don't worry about it, don't worry about it." And then probably for sure they got these trucks, and they drove the truck to the university where they had the hospital, very good, ones of the best science
mhm,
doctors,
mhm,
and they work for the government here. And then that's what I think they did, all the procedures. They maybe took some part of the skin of the creature, and they had all the analysis. and then we knew about it that 12 sergeant high position from the capital came to Campinas, and they gave an excuse like say, oh, we came here to see the new computers who that came from other place, but they stayed also 12 hours without notice, but
Mm,
they was there in the inside of the university. And then also we have more testimonies
mhm,
of other militaries who's saying that strange activity at this university and the
mm.
medical place.
Wow.
And yes, and then military X. So what happened is, after when he knew it and he believed it, that was alien, because when he saw on the news and he connected everything and he couldn't believe. So he said that all the time in the base area after these days, they were the other military was doing a monitoring of him and the
Monitoring,
other,
yeah. Mm,
yeah, guys. And they were afraid because one, when they came, like when they went to his house in his day off, somebody was following him all the time. So they decide, like military X decided to recording what he knew
mhm,
in May 4th of 1996, to the Vittorio Pacatini and Marco Pitti recorded the
mhm,
first testimony of him.
mhm,
But they did a deal. They say, Military X said, oh, if something happened with me or my family, please, you guys go to the media and put in my testimony on the media. So if nothing happened, please don't do anything. So he trusted the researchers at
mm,
the time, and was kind of to help him actually, if
mm.
something happened with him, because they say the military said that inside of the army base they could be like punched, everything, or maybe he was afraid to die actually because
Mm.
he had this information. So he gave this information to the researchers, and then he encouraged other militaries to come and record it in 1996 what they knew. And there's this one who was more afraid. He saw the whole creature in the hospital, and
And
he felt the smell it.
just quickly, because I know we're running out of time. Could you tell me what he looked like? What did they? Because we haven't touched on that. What did the creature's face look like in the whole body?
Yeah, yeah. So this military said there was a big eyes, red big eyes, and the head was bigger than our head,
Mm.
and had a
Wow.
tree. How do I say horn? I don't know, like here.
Protrusions or horns? Yeah.
Yeah, procedure. Yeah, right
Protrusions.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had like a very bad smell, and no, like the mouth was very very small, and
Mm,
he couldn't see ears too,
mm, mhm,
So how he saw because this creature was there in right there in the truck,
mhm,
and then some doctor came very fast and opening, and with like a instrumental thing, get something in his mouth, the creature's
mm.
mouth, and pull out. And he told us there was very thick. He didn't know what was it, but looks like a black, looks like a reptile, because in the end it
Reptile.
has this, yeah,
A
and
fork
then
tongue, like a
like
snake.
fork, exactly like a
Yeah.
snake.
Wow.
And then when he thought and then went back to his mouth, like,
Wow.
and this military saw that and said, oh my god, this smell is so bad. So he recorded this testimony in 1996. We tried so bad to convince this other military to come to speak with
Mm.
James, but he's so afraid. He said, I never, please don't call me anymore. Today he's a police officer.
Okay.
He get out of the army. He's a police officer today. He said, please don't talk, uh, don't come to
Mm.
talk to me
Mm.
anymore, please.
Yeah.
And then military X, because we became a friend after the whole these years, we couldn't find, because we knew about his testimony of 1996. We could watch his testimony, We
Mhm.
had a chance, but I was curious to see. Actually, I would love to meet with Military X to know if he's gonna say the same thing that he said in the
Mhm.
first testimony. To be
Mhm.
if he was wrong,
Mhm.
to believe more in him.
Mhm.
And then I remember we had a so hard time to find. So we found him, his address. So the first calling, he was very afraid. Who are you? How did you get my phone? And like
Mhm.
he was keeping asking questions. So we keep in touch for the 8 months, keep
Mhm.
in touch by phone. And then I had the opportunity to meet with him the first time and in Campinas, because now he's not a military anymore and he works for another company, and he was working in Campinas, which is around my city here, next near to 1 hour and a half driving. And I remember John Marcelo was speaking with him, told him, "Oh, Marco can go right now and talk to you. I know you are working, but you're gonna have a dinner, a lunch, a dinner
Mhm.
time, and then can you talk to him, please, please?" And then he agreed it. So I went there to speak with him. So was when I saw him for the first time. And then I remember when I arrived at the place, he was with other friends, and he came to my car, like in the window, and say, "Hey, you parked right there, like under to this tree right there." And I say, "Okay." And then I was night, and then I went there, and then he came and he said, "Okay, get all your phone, electronics, get it inside of the car, nothing here." Okay, so I put it, and when I turned the lights off of my car, was so dark that I couldn't
Mhm.
see his face, and we spoke for like 1 hour. So actually, but he never told me all the details,
Mhm.
what he did, what he said in the testimony of 1996. But he actually, in this 1 hour of conversation, he was more asking me questions, who I was, and why I was interested about this story, and a lot of questions. And he never gave me details of the case. He just confirmed that it happened, but
Mhm.
I already told him, "Oh, I watched your testimony from 1996 is
Mhm.
incredible. Can you tell me?" And he said, "No, no, no. Maybe one day." And then I remember I went. He was very nice with me. And then 2 months later, 10 months after the first talk by phone, he agreed to meet with me and John. And then we went to a bakery, like in another city. And then we spoke for about 2 hours, but he didn't tell us the detail. He told us more things, but I know all the details that I would like to see. And then I told him, "Oh, probably James Fox is gonna come. We are doing a very serious documentary about this fact, and then we would love you need to be part of it. We don't gonna show you like just your testimony." And I said, "No, man, no, no. Even if you offer money, nothing." Like
Mhm.
I was like, "Okay." So we was a friend, so he didn't want it. So
Mhm.
when James came and we were shooting in the Varginha, and I told James about him. "Oh, James, there's this guy. He was a very good witness, a military,
Mhm.
but he doesn't want to come, even if you offer money, like nothing." And then he said, "Oh, please tell him if we had a chance to just to make a conversation, you know."
Mhm.
And then like I convinced him to meet with me, only me and James. And then we
Mhm.
drove 3 hours and a half to the city that he was.
Mhm.
And then when we arrived at the place, he was with another guy who was his friend, and me again. And he, "Oh, how are you?" Shaking hands, and he say, "Okay, let's go to this car. Let's go to the another place now." And then he took us to another place, and then we went to other place, and then we started and then we spoke for two
Counter
hours.
surveillance, I guess.
Yes,
Counter
exactly.
surveillance. Yeah.
Yes. And then James was incredible because James, he convinced with his stories and like
His
his past
enthusiasm and
on the
everything. Yeah.
UFO subject, and he convinced, I think, military X to come. But a military X in the end of the conversation said, "Oh, okay, I like you, James, I like you, but I don't know yet if I'm gonna do. I'm gonna think about it. Okay, okay,
Mm,
okay. Thanks so much." And then we went back to Varginha, and then we started to shooting other the other days. And then I remember James was always like, "Call him, see if he's agreed, please, right now. If because we don't like if you don't do this week, we never gonna do anymore because he's gonna think too much and maybe the intelligence will know or something." And then was incredible because he didn't want it so bad. I say, please, please, we are in the car right now. We are about to drive to there. Please give
mm,
me. This is gonna change the story. You need to do. And oh man, I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Where are we gonna do this interview? I don't wanna anybody see me. I say, don't worry about it. We're gonna try to find a hotel
mm,
room, and then we can do in a hotel. Don't worry about it. So I don't know, man. And then I told him we are in the car driving to there. I said, oh, and then he said, oh, okay, okay. So
well done.
that's what when you guys see in the movie everything
Amazing.
what
No,
happened.
that was great that you managed to get. And I know James gives you a lot of credit in the film for finding all these people. And I know there's so many that didn't come forward, and so many that you must have fascinating stories from who don't want to be on record. Um, just before, like, just the last thing, I think it's important to also just talk quickly about the American presence at the end, because the just tell a bit about that if you wouldn't mind, just to wrap up. Like, this aircraft came, and
Yeah,
if you could tell us about the story, how the Americans allegedly took the
yeah,
craft away and the bodies,
yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, that was really incredible because in 2021, actually, when Jamie was here, was the last days, and we saw a live, internet live of controller officers who was talking about UFOs, and they were all Air Force controllers,
Mhm,
and then the guy, Ferris, Marcus Ferris, was telling, oh, now it's been like 26 years now, I think I can say. I was working in the tower, and then I saw this strange airplane coming into the radar. So I went to see the form because when the other countries come to Brazil, they needed to fill a form
mhm,
to the security defense, and then today come to our airspace, so he didn't have the authorization.
mhm,
And then he was like, oh my god, I need to call the air of defense. And then when he got the phone to call the air of defense, his boss, I think he was a captain or a colonel, he came to the room, say, oh, Ferris, wait, there's our airplane, USAF airplane, who is coming right now. Can
And
you
when you
check
say
for me?
USAF, sorry to interrupt, but when
USAF.
you say US USAF, you mean United States Air Force, USAF.
Perfect. The airplane who was coming, they were already in our airspace in Brazil. And then he told this other controller tower, oh, don't worry about it. I call to the air of defense, just check for me on the radar where this airplane gonna land. So tell me everything, you just check for me. And they say, okay, boss, all right. And he was checking. And then the first of all, he had the information that the airplane they supposed to land in Guarulhos, São Paulo, in the airport. So 1 hour before the land, or 40 minutes before, they said they would land. They needed to land in Campinas, and then they landed in Campinas. He was checking this controller officer. They landed, and he thought really weird because 30 minutes after this U.S. Force airplane landed in Campinas, 30 minutes later, the Brazilian Air Force called and asked the permission to land two helicopters of the Air Force. And then they landed, and they knew that these controller towers, they knew that the militaries from Air Force gave a ride on these two helicopters to the Americans who was in the Air Force airplane, and then they flew to they didn't say to where they gonna flew at the time. They say they just flew for a place that we don't know. So after that, everything that we knew that was Varginha
Hmm.
airport. And
Hmm.
then so they went there, they grabbed something, put in the like in some metal box inside of their helicopters, and then they flew back to the Campinas.
Hmm.
And the Americans got this metal box, put it in the Air Force airplane, and then they
Wow.
flew to United States. So this was really incredible because we didn't have. I tried so bad to interview Ferris, but I think he didn't mind like that his testimony in 2021 was big like, and then we were trying to, hey, please can you tell us one more time on camera, say no, no, please, I don't want to be part of it. You can talk with Manuel Fernandez, who was with me, like he worked with me, and he can tell you the story. So it is a little part on where the movie, when you guys see the other controller tower saying
Mm,
about this airplane, Air Force, American Air Force airplane who landed, and they took something and
incredible.
took to Varginha, and the military acts. Just to say, in the end, when I was with James in the hotel room, and military acts started to give us the testimony, was perfect, almost the same as he did in 27 years later. So for me and my heart to say, oh my God, now I
Mm,
believe for real this is
mm.
happening. And then these Americans, they uh, the military X also confirmed that they came to Campinas in March 1st, and they signed a document that is a cooperation of Brazilian government and American government. And they were saying that they came to Campinas, to the university, to choose some scientists to come to America to do like to work together. And then
In
like
like as astronauts or as in the
yes,
space program, I think. Yeah.
in the space program. And then after some years later, we had our first astronaut, the unique Brazilian astronaut who went to the space with NASA, like
So
with the Americans.
maybe there was some quid pro quo because I think, is it correct that the U.S. Did a political visit shortly after as well? I think I read
Yeah.
somewhere that Warren Christopher came to Brazil shortly after.
Yes,
Is Yeah.
this was March 1st of 1996 when they came, and they signed all this. We have this form, and I
I
think James
see. Yeah.
showing the extras. And then it was incredible because he was the director of NASA at the
Mm,
time who came here. And then we
mm.
had our first astronaut. So a lot of people believe hypothesis, of course, of hypothesis that our Marcus Pontes astronaut went to space because this,
Quid pro quo,
because
like you do this for us, yeah, but you got to give something in return. And
exactly.
then just finally, Marco, if you have time,
Yeah.
like I know that there was this video. You guys are looking for this video because, as you mentioned, the chap in the hospital had the video over his shoulder. What's the status update on that situation? Have you been able to find anything on that?
Yes, no, actually, oh my God! After moment of contact, we saw that other people, like other doctors, I think encourage other doctors coming and speak more a little bit about it. So this last doctor, he on camera for me and my partner John, he said, oh, I saw the video, I was there in the hospital. So it was the
Mm,
first time where one doctor, like he's a surgery, very respectable
mm.
doctor in
Amazing.
Virginia, and he said that this video exists, and his friend Dr. Schultz in the hospital very quickly, like, and he had the opportunity to see the footage.
And what was in the
And
footage? What was it
the
footage of?
footage, he said that the creature was laid down in a metal box, like Mercury, or I don't know,
Like a
but it
morgue. Yeah.
was alive
Ah,
already
yes.
because he saw it was alive, and he had a blanket like right here in the
Hmm.
uh, like right here, like he
Midsection.
just
Yeah.
in the movie he just could see like the they were doing a procedure, some procedure in the creature, and he saw the fingers like three fingers or he like this was moving, you
Mm,
know, and very thin, like skinny, very
mm.
skinny creature, kind of not too big, like was there. But we know the doctor knows more and more. I think, I believe sometime that he was there too in the off in the room, but he didn't want to tell that it was him that
I
was there,
see. So
you
he
know.
wouldn't admit that he was there as well. So his way of telling the story is to say, "I saw the video," but he was actually
Exactly.
there.
Yeah, but I actually the video exists because we find out like 4 months before I met this doctor. I we find out about what that one doctor shoot a video, and then we could discover it, which doctor was. And unfortunately, this doctor already died in 2018 with a heart attack, you know. And then I found his wife, and I went to speak with wife, and then his wife said, "No, this is a bullshit. This has never happened. Like he just said to me that he saw the strange activity of the army in the hospital, but no, he didn't shoot any video." And then I was offering like a lot of money of it, like for the video, because. And then we told her like, if you wanna offer to poor kids, like institution here in Virginia, like you're gonna help the world with this footage, and also you can do a good thing for the kids. And then she said, "Oh, I'm sorry. If I had it, I would give to you guys, but I don't have it." Okay, so I went to go. I got frustrated, and
Mm,
then 4 months later, I met with this Italo, Doctor Italo, who I did the interview. Everybody can see on my channel. We already put it subtitles. That he told us like that he friend shoot, and he friend was the husband of this lady who I
mm,
was talking to, you know. So he was confirmed, and he told us the
mm,
details, more details on the interview. And then also he told her, no, she has the movie. Yes, she has,
mm.
but she's saying that she doesn't have. She has
Wow.
it because she they used to show us in his room, like
Mm.
in his living room in his house.
When
So
she
she
was
had it.
there, when she
Yeah,
was there as well.
and she knew already. And the other doctor, Italo wasn't the only doctor who saw the video. There's another doctor who
Mm,
saw also the video, but he doesn't want to come out to do an interview. He
I see.
just confirmed that ladies know and she had it. So okay, so with James Fox, like doing a video calls, we convinced the doctor Italo to speak with her again to to show us the video, you know. So I went there and was very, how do I say, because they were like the doctor and the wife, the Italo, they were all friends, long time
Mm,
friends, you
mm.
know. But we
So
are
it was
putting
awkward,
them
maybe.
against, you know, when you
It was
put them
awkward. Yeah.
yeah. And then it was kind of weird, like, oh, okay, so no, okay, I have something here, maybe you guys can check. Is his hard drive. And then she gave me, actually, this is right here, the hard drive. And we looked it into, was broke, and then we
Mm,
fixed it, and then we got all the files, but we didn't see
mm.
any video. We just found two videos of UFOs that he liked the subject, I think, you know. We don't know how why he liked it, because
Mm.
we suppose that he knows a lot of things
Yeah.
about, because he shoot it. But the doctor said for sure, the both doctors said for sure she had it, but I don't know why, something they don't want to give to you right now or something. So we are, this is the most near that we got from the real footage. And also we know that the army has all the footage, but I think this is
Mm,
gonna be impossible ever to get all this. If we
mm.
can get, it is from the civilian who did
Yeah.
in the hospital.
Because I heard about one other person who had a video of someone trying to give it water or something like that, or give it some fruit or something. I don't know if you heard
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Um,
This is was Vittorio Pacatini, the researcher. He told us that in 2012, a military officer who was his friend, because Vittorio Pacatini, his family used to live in the whole life in Three Horts City, where is the military base. And Vittorio Pacatini's father was a popular doctor in Three Horts. So he already knew a lot of military people there, and people respected his father. And then this military in 2012 invited him to go to show him something, and then he went there, and then he said that he saw like a video of I think 36 seconds that was showing the creature there was alive, and they were trying to give like a water and I
mm,
think a piece of apple or something like that, and that's what Vittorio Pacatini witnessed. And
wow.
he but wasn't official, you know. He
Hmm.
said he never gonna his friends say please never tell my name, anything, you know. So I think this guy had a copy, and we knew that some militaries had the copy of this the other footage.
Mm,
Probably is not the same footage as the doctor
hmm.
has, you know, and the doctor saw. I think it's the
Mm.
other footage from the militaries, you
I
know.
see. Okay. Well, Marco, we could obviously talk about this for hours and hours forever. I mean, there's so many other points
Yes.
to touch on, but I know obviously I'll let you go. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Really appreciate it. This story is fascinating, and congrats on the film Moment of Contact, which everyone should check out. You did an absolutely amazing job. I know James mentioned that you were, absolutely pivotal to the process of the film, the making of the film. So thank you so much, Marco. Is there where can people see your work? Where can they catch you on YouTube or wherever?
Oh, nice. Thanks a lot, Ben. I have my channel, YouTube channel, which calls Marco Leal
Hmm.
UFO. I think it's easier to
Hmm.
find. And then I
Great.
have all my work, interviews of Varginha, a lot of interviews there. Like it's not like
Hmm.
like it's not professional, but it's right there. And then all the other researchers is there. And then also my Instagram, it's a Leo Marco Aurelio. Leo Marco Aurelio. You guys can reach me out there. And I wanna thank you, and first of all, also thank James Fox to trust in our research, and
Hmm.
he's like my brother. I love James so much because we became so much closer, you know, and he's incredible. I think without him we could never do this, you know, by ourselves.
Hmm.
Like, and James is unbelievable.
Hmm.
And also I want to thank you because and say to your audience, I'm sorry about my language. My is not good,
It's
like
brilliant.
it's like not fluent, but I'm
It
you
is
know.
fluent. It's way better than my Portuguese anyway, put it that way. But no, honestly, you speak amazingly. Very articulate, very eloquent. So thank you.
Oh, thank you guys, and we can talk another time, and you
That
know
would be
it's gonna
amazing.
be good.
As things update, we'd love to have you back, Marco. So thank you so much. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please do me a favor and leave a positive review and 5 stars. Check out upcoming episodes with longevity Dr. Atom Bataina and Indian wildlife savior Afsar Hussain. Have a good one.